Hallo Leute, welcome back to Deutschflix, where German becomes schneller, besser und stärker als gestern.
Guten Tag. Gestern war mein Deutsch noch etwas langsam, aber heute spreche ich viel schneller und flüssiger. Ich habe viel geübt und jetzt ist es besser und stärker als je zuvor.
So today we are discussing about something that you use every single day without even noticing, comparing things. For example, his phone is better, or she is the most intelligent student in the class, or German is more confusing, or is it? So in German, this topic is called Komparation, which we also learnt in English as degree of comparison. Sind Sie bereit? Are you ready? Los geht's. Komparation, degree of comparison. But for what do we have degree? We have degree for adjectives, and there are 3 degrees: positive degree, comparative degree, and superlative degree. And in German, they are called Positiv, Komparativ und Superlativ. Now the question is, if we have 3 degrees of an adjective, then when do we use what? So far we've been using the positive degree, which is also called base form of an adjective. For example, A ist schön, which means A is beautiful. So we use it if there is no comparison going on. But wait, what if we have 2 people, A und B, and I'm comparing them? Then we use comparative. Now the moment I introduce one more person, say, then I have to use superlative. So if there are more than 2 things or people, then you use superlative degree. So now we'll see how do we make comparative and superlative degree of an adjective. So I took the example A ist schön, A is beautiful. What if I want to say B is more beautiful or C is most beautiful? Now in order to make comparative and superlative degree, I'll take 3 adjectives: schön, schnell, and nett. So these are my adjectives: beautiful, fast, and nice. Now in order to make comparative degree or comparative, you should remember this rule, that you have to take the adjective, then end it with er, and then you have to use the comparison word als. What is the meaning of als? Als means than in English. So you say, no, B is more beautiful than A. So in German we use als. It's not alles, it's als. So that means comparative degree of these adjectives becomes schöner als. For schnell, schneller als. And for nett, netter als, which means more beautiful than, faster than, and nicer than. Now we'll see how to make superlative degree of an adjective or superlative. Now for this, the rule that you have to remember is, you have to take the adjective, but before this adjective you have to use the word am. And what ending to apply to an adjective? You either write sten or you write esten. But how will I know when to use what? So you will use esten if your adjective is ending in de, the, ix, esset, set. So if we take the same adjectives, for Sean it becomes schnellsten. For schnell it becomes schnellsten. But my adjective net is ending in t, so I will use esten. So for net it becomes nettesten, which means most beautiful, fastest, nicest. Now I'll write them. So most students have this confusion, have this doubt, what exactly is the meaning of So here doesn't have any meaning at all. Schönsten means most beautiful. Schnellsten, fastest. Nettesten, nicest. So there's no meaning of here. It is just the way of representing a superlative degree of an adjective. Time to discuss the examples now. Let's take one animal for now, Katze, which is a cat. Eine Katze ist schnell. A cat is fast. Eine Katze ist schnell. So far there is no comparison going on. I'm using the positive degree of an adjective. But the moment I add one more animal, let's take a dog, ein Hund. Then ein Hund ist eine Katze. Now since the comparison is going on between two animals, I have to use the comparative degree of an adjective. How do I make comparative degree? I have to take the adjective schnell and then end it with er. Schneller. And I have to use the comparison word als. A dog is faster than a cat. Now comes the third animal, a leopard, ein Leopard. Which is the fastest among all. Ein Leopard ist So I have to use the superlative degree because now the comparison is going on between more than two animals. So I'll say ein Leopard ist, I have to use then the adjective schnell, but I have to end it with sten or esten if the adjectives end in certain alphabets. So first up we have Positiv, then we have Komparativ, and then we have Superlativ. Let's discuss one more example. Now we'll compare cities. Let's start with München, Munich. München ist schön. Now I'll write two statements and you have to fill in the blanks. You can pause the video. Okay, so now I'm comparing Hamburg and Munich. So Hamburg ist schöner als München. And the moment third city comes in, I have to use superlative degree. Berlin ist am schönsten. Berlin is the most beautiful. So once again we have positiv, we have komparativ, and then we have superlativ. Now before I give you any practice exercise to solve, we have to discuss few exceptions. And I can compare it with English language as well. For example, the comparative and superlative degree of fast is faster and fastest. But do we always add er and est? Let's take an example of beautiful. So for beautiful, do we say beautifuler, beautifulest? No. Then comes this more beautiful thing and most beautiful thing. Is that it? Let's take one more adjective, good. Now for good, do I say gooder and goodest? Or do I say more good and most good? Nothing. We say good, better, best. So these exceptions we learnt with time. Same thing you have to do in German. So let's discuss those exceptions. So I've taken few adjectives. Let's start with gross. So in order to make comparative degree, I'll take the adjective as it is. Okay. Now in order to make comparative degree, what do I have to do? End the adjective with er and then use the comparison word als. But what is exception here? Exception is you have to also put umlauts. So it becomes größer als. Now you have to do the same thing with other adjectives as well. So I have to put umlauts. Kälter als, colder than, jünger als, younger than, and gesunder als, healthier than. Gesund means healthy. Now while making superlative degree also you have to put umlauts. So for gross, it becomes am größten. This is exception as a whole. You legit have to learn the superlative degree of gross. It is am größten. Why am I saying this is exception as a whole? Because if you saw the previous page, here I've written if your adjective is ending in s set, then you have to write esten. But there is no sten or there is no esten. We are simply saying ten, am größten. But for other adjectives, I've just put umlaut. Nothing has changed. Am kältesten, am jüngsten, am gesundesten. So it is better that you learn such exceptions by heart. But if you want to know the reason why we put umlauts, so the answer is that you have to count the number of syllables in an adjective. If the number of syllable is 1, then you put umlauts, otherwise you do not put umlauts. Now what is the concept of syllable? In order to count the number of syllables in any word, you have to count the number of vowel sounds. For example, if I take gross, then you're hearing only O sound, which is one vowel sound. In case of kalt, there is A sound. That's it. Or let's take the adjective intelligent. Now, in case of intelligent, how many vowel sounds are there? There is this E sound, then A sound, then once again E sound, and then A sound. So there are 4 vowel sounds and it has 4 syllables. So in case of jung, you hear only oo sound. There's 1 vowel sound, so hence I have to put umlauts. Now in case of gesund, how many vowel sounds are there? We have A sound and then we have oo sound. Wait a minute. I just said if it is 1 syllable long, then I put umlauts. Then why in case of gesund I'm putting umlauts? Now this is exception. So ist es. That's how it is. Gesünder als. So I'll just write this rule. Syllable, you have to count number of vowel sounds, and if it is 1, then you put umlauts. Here also we have exception that we saw in case of gesund. Number of vowel sounds are 2. Now comes the third category of an adjective wherein you do not use that word at all. For example, feel means a lot. Now in order to make comparative degree, you do not say viele als, you say mehr als. Mehr als means more than. And if you want to say most, then you say am meisten. Now gut means good. If you want to say better, then you do not say guter als, you say besser als. And best, am besten. Now gern or lieb, which means gladly, you say lieber als. And superlative degree, am liebsten. Now hoch means high. So higher than and highest, you say höher als. Now here C is gone. Höher als. But in case of superlative degree, you say am höchsten. So feel means a lot. Good, you know, good. Gern oder lieb, it means gladly. And hoch means high. Here gesund, if you want to note down, it means healthy. Now there's one doubt that I get most of the time from students. They are not able to understand when to use what, at least for this adjective. Gern oder lieb, which means gladly, and lieber als, we never say more gladly. And even for am liebsten, we do not say most gladly. So how will I do the translation? In what scenario can I use the comparative degree and superlative degree of gern or lieb? Let's try to understand that with the help of examples. Now I'm someone who is surrounded by instruments, who loves to play instruments. I can play 3 instruments. Zum Beispiel, for example, ich spiele Ukulele gerne. That means I play ukulele gladly. But if there is ukulele and keyboard, then I prefer keyboard to ukulele. How will I express this in German? I'll say ich spiele Klavier lieber als Ukulele. So here I'm getting the sense of prefer to or rather than. So I play piano rather than ukulele, or I prefer playing piano to ukulele. Now, if there is guitar in front of me, then I play guitar most of all. Now, here in this case, I will use liebsten and I'll say, ich spiele Gitarre am liebsten. I'm not writing the translation for am liebsten, you have to understand it. If I am given 3 instruments, ukulele, piano or guitar, then I play guitar most of all. So if you have understood this concept, I want you to give me one situation. You can write your answers in the chat box. You can legit compare any activities that you do gladly, that you prefer to do, or that you love to do. So if you have understood this topic, I'll give you one practice exercise to solve. Okay, komparativ or a superlative. So you're given the adjectives in brackets, but you have to decide whether you will go with the comparative degree or the superlative degree. Now for that, you have to identify if comparison is going on between 2 things or people or more than 2 things or people. I'll explain you the first one. Wie findest du Luke einen Computer oder einen Laptop? So there are 2 things, computer and laptop. So if 2 things, I will go with the comparative degree of gut, which is BESSER. So question is, was findest du besser? What do you find better? A computer or a laptop? Now the answer is, ein Computer ist besser, a computer is better, aber ist auch leuker als ein laptop. So still the comparison is going on between computer and a laptop. Moreover, you can also see the word als. So if you see the word als, you have to use the comparative degree. So comparative degree of teuer is teurer. And this is the correct spelling. Teurer, which means more expensive. So a computer is better, but it is also more expensive than a laptop. Now you have to solve for others. You can pause the video and we'll discuss this in 5 seconds. Nummer 2. Ich mag Obst. That means I like fruits. Leuke, there is adjective given gern, which means gladly. Then als Gemüse, then vegetables. Comparison is going on between fruits and vegetables. So I will go with the comparative degree. Comparative degree of gern is lieber. So I like fruits rather than vegetable. Aber Leuke esse is Schokolade. Now comes the third thing, which is chocolate. So now I'm comparing fruits, vegetables and chocolate, all of them together. That means I have to use superlative degree. So I'll write here am liebsten. But I eat chocolate most of all. Nummer 3. Was fährt Leuke? Adjective is given to us schnell. Dein Auto oder dein Motorrad. So 2 things, car and motorcycle. I will go with comparative degree, schneller. So what is faster? What drives faster, car or motorcycle? Answer is mein Motorrad, my motorcycle. Nummer 4. In Deutschland ist es, adjective is given kalt, als in Tunisian. So I'm comparing 2 countries, Deutschland and Tunisian. So I will go with the comparative degree of kalt, which is kälter. So Deutschland is colder than Tunisian. Aber in Russland, now comes the third country, Russia. So I will go with superlative degree, am kältesten. Nummer 5. Ich möchte ein neues Handy haben. I would like to have a new mobile. And then answer is, du kannst mein Handy haben. You can have my mobile. Es ist, adjective is neu, als dein Handy. So I'm comparing my mobile with your mobile. So comparison is going on between 2 mobiles. I will go with Comparative degree. Es ist neuer als dein Handy. It is newer than your mobile. Und es ist, again, comparison is going on. Es ist billiger, cheaper. Es ist billiger als ein neues Handy. And it is cheaper than a new mobile. So the person is advising to take his mobile rather than purchasing a new one in the market. Nummer 6. Welche Stadt ist? The adjective given to us is schön, and the answer is Ich finde London. Again, same adjective, schön. So we anyway cannot use positive degree of an adjective. Let's go with comparative degree. Which city is more beautiful? And then London is more beautiful. Was? Now the person is surprised and saying Paris ist doch viel schöner. So there are only two cities. We will go with the comparative degree. Nummer 7. Ich muss viel Deutsch lernen. I must learn German. So firstly we will go with the comparative degree. Mehr. I have to learn German more. Aber vor der Prüfung. But before the exam. So now comes the next degree of viel, which is superlative degree. Aber vor der Prüfung muss ich am meisten lernen. I have to learn the most before the exam. I have to give my best at least before the exam. So we are comparing a student's situation just before exam and way before exam. So way before exam, then person is saying I have to learn German more. But just before the exam, the person is saying I have to learn the most. I have to give my best. Nummer 8. Möchtest du nach Spanien oder nach Österreich in den Urlaub fahren? So we are comparing two countries. Would you like to go for vacation to Spain or Austria? And then the answer will be Ich möchte lieber nach Spanien. I'll prefer going to Spain. Dort ist wärmer als in Österreich. So there it is much more warm than in Austria. So while making comparative degree of warm, you have to put umlauts. This is one syllable long. You only hear a sound. Warm, a sound. So the question demanded us to firstly go with the comparative degree and then the superlative degree. Now I'm just left with one small concept. So let's take a look at it. So the concept is called Zoe. Zoe. I'll write one sentence. Ist so intelligent wie B. Now you have to pause the video and think about the translation. What does this sentence mean? So if you think it means A is more intelligent than B, then you are wrong. Just because I am comparing two things or two people doesn't really mean that I will always go with the comparative degree. You need to understand if the comparison is equal or not. If the comparison is equal, then we use the concept of Zoe. Now what does this sentence mean? This sentence means A is as intelligent as B. This means A is equally intelligent if I compare it with B. So this concept is called Zo plus adjective. But which degree do you use for adjective? You use positive plus V. And sometimes in order to stress a lot, you also use genauso. Genauso plus adjective in positive degree plus wie. So genau means exactly, and so, like I said, it means as, and we also means as. So if you want to say exactly as intelligent as B, then you use genauso plus adjective plus wie. Now I'll write two statements. So you have to pause the video and think, are these two statements equal? Like they mean the same thing. Okay, what does first statement mean? German is not as difficult as Chinese. So if I'm saying German is not as difficult as Chinese, that means Chinese is more difficult than German. Okay, if you have understood this, then I have a very small practice exercise. All you have to do is understand whether you will go with als or you will go with we. You can pause the video and I'll discuss this in 5 seconds. Okay, so this is very easy. You do not even have to read the sentences. So we is always accompanied by so. Now wherever you're seeing so, just fill we. So I can see here so. So I will go with we. And even here also I have genauso. So even genauso has so. So I will go with we. Also you can notice one thing, that we are using positive degree of an adjective, alt and schwer. Now for the remaining blanks you will go with als. What else can be done in this exercise? Now for als the condition is that you have to use the komparativ of an adjective. Now all these words, jünger, praktischer, or lieber, älter, leichter, kleiner, so these all are comparative degree of an adjective. So if you see er at the end, you will go with als. Now for the remaining adjectives, I will fill als. So translation, seine Schwester ist jünger als Peter. His sister is younger than Peter. Aber sein Freund Markus ist genauso alt wie er. But his friend Marcus is exactly as old as him. Nummer 2. Ein Laptop ist praktischer als ein Computer. Laptop is more practical than computer. Weil man ihn überall mitnehmen kann. Because you can take it everywhere. 3. Deutsche trinken lieber Bier als Chinesen. So Germans drink beer rather than Chinese folks. 4. Ist älter als Maria. He is older than Maria. Aber ist viel kleiner als sie. But he is a lot shorter than her. English ist leichter als Deutsch. English is easier than German. Aber Arabisch ist genauso schwer wie Deutsch. But if I talk about Arabic, it is exactly as difficult as German. Now see, in the 5th sentence, there are 3 languages. English, German, and Arabic. Doesn't mean I will go with superlative degree. You have to understand the context. If there is so, we or not. If the comparison is equal or is it unequal. And that's it. You can let me know all your doubts related to this topic in the comment section and I'll answer. Und das war Komparation. Now you can compare like a real German. From gut to besser to am besten, just like your German journey. Subscribe to Deutschflix for more of such videos. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Cheers!
Like and subscribe.